Hello my little beauties, it's David Connelly here, the Web Developer Extraordinaire. Today I'd like to answer a question that millions of people have been asking me. Oh, hang on a second. No, millions of people have not been asking me. Actually, nobody's asked me. And the question is, do I respect my fellow YouTubers of the web development genre? In short, the answer is no. Now, we have some pretty intelligent people here. I know that some of you are busy working, and I hope you're enjoying the new format, by the way, where I don't go in front of the camera and stuff. I know that you're busy working, so just work away. There's absolutely nothing to see here, and I'll explain why I don't respect any of them. First of all, I think that it's interesting how when I look at the top and popular YouTubers, I'm certainly not one of them, but when I look at them, they all seem to be doing pretty much the same things. I'm seeing lots of videos about top 10 frameworks, top 10 programming languages and things like that. And I think that kind of thing is, for the most part, quite intellectually bankrupt. Now, don't get me wrong. If you happen to be a dude like, Academind or somebody like that, who has done a gazillion tutorials and covered lots and lots of different frameworks, then please do one of those videos, But sometimes, not always, but sometimes I think that developers do put out videos like that, and it's very obvious to me that they haven't actually used the technologies that they're talking about. And the real tragedy of this is that they don't need to do this, because I know one or two of these people, and they're actually really good developers, and they don't need to do that. I think it's intellectually bankrupt, just cheap clickbait. The other thing that somewhat irritates me a wee bit, and people are entitled to say and do whatever they want. I am not the YouTube police, I'm not the code police, and I'm not going to say anything about anyone negative in particular here. But the other thing that's a slight irritation is when developers dish out bad and misleading information about how to be a successful developer. And as you know, I'm completely successful. So, for example, I think that if you take, imagine the top 100 most popular web developers on YouTube, right? Now imagine them, and we can look this up, by the way, right? Now, you'll find that there are certain videos that all of them do, and there are certain questions that all of them answer at some point, and they all give the same answers. For example, go find one of the top developers and find them talking about a video, find a video where they talk about the best programming language. They will say, and we all know what they're going to say, they're going to say, well, it depends upon the job. Let's all say it together. It depends upon the job that you're doing. I think that's bullshit. I think it's nice, but I think it's bullshit and it's ultimately misleading. The reason why is because it gives off the impression that professional web developers should treat web development like a sort of Swiss Army knife, with all these little things that they keep learning and attachments and whatnot, and that we drift around from job to job, project to project, language to language, and framework to framework, saying, oh, I wonder what I'll use today. Let's see. Let's use shalabadang.js. Yes, it's the fun pack framework with an fruity, delightful aftertaste. I don't know what the heck I'm saying, but the point is, they give off the impersonation that web development is some endless conveyor belt of keeping up with the next big thing. I think that's actually not accurate, but what's even more disturbing is that I think that this is actually an underhand attempt to just bring on an endless supply of customers for their inevitable, inexhaustible supply of courses covering the next big thing. And I would have to say, let's talk about the word commitment. Let's talk about the word commitment. Is your tutor, is your tutorial maker, is the person you're listening to committed to what they are teaching? How committed? Find them. Go anywhere. Go here, there, or anywhere. Find the next course on blankety blank blank blank. I'm asking you, how committed is that person? Do you think that they are going to dedicate their full being and deep time and everything they've got into that project for the next, say, 5 years? Or do you think they're going to do as much as they can get away with for a course before moving on to the next thing? Well, I think it's the latter. Now, let me tell you where I stand on this personally. I have one web development course. It's really expensive. It's outrageously expensive. And, you know, if anybody said you're really expensive, I don't blame you. I am expensive. But one of the justifications for that, and just it's only one of many, but one of the justifications is, I ain't doing another course. I'm not sitting here saying, well, I'll get this out and I'll do my one course at speedcodingacademy.com. Nice little bit of product placement there. I'll do Speed Coding Academy and that will be nice and I'll get some money and then I'll move on to something else. No, the Web Developer Extraordinaire is committed. I am 100% committed. If I'm still doing web development and 30 years from now, I'll be talking about speed coding and I'll be talking about the Transient framework. That's how committed I am. If something better comes out, it's my job as framework maker to catch up and find something else that would give my stuff the edge. This is commitment. This is the voice of commitment, ladies and gentlemen. And I ask as a factual statement, factually, who in our midst is like that? Can you find, well, in fairness, let's be entirely fair. I'm not machine gunning the whole industry. There are actually some great developers who are committed, you know. Steph Mischuk's committed. He does PHP and Python and he's committed to that stuff. I think it's unfortunate that he feels a need to do top 10 videos and stuff like that from time to time, but he's committed. I don't think anyone is as committed as me, but nevertheless, there you go. Now, the other thing that I've noticed about the popular YouTubers is that when you look at their content, it's all geared towards, and this is my word of the week, transient. Look that one up. It's the new word of the week. They're all going after a transient audience of newbies who will probably not make it through a single Hello World tutorial. Now you just look at the headlines. It's all things like, what's it like getting into development, how I started in web development, your first project, your first job, my first project, my first job, and so on. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I think that the audience that they are appealing to is massive. No wonder they have so many subscribers. But also, to a large extent, here today and gone tomorrow. And I make this as a technical observation, not a criticism, a technical observation. And anyone with a YouTube video might want to take note of what I'm about to say. I think that when you look around the web in general at web development teachings, there's a ton of stuff for newbies. And there's also a lot of stuff for really advanced developers. I mean, there's stuff out there that I look at and I'm thinking, what on earth, right? And did an AI course last year and I couldn't understand a word of it, right? So the beginner audience are very, very covered. It's actually saturated. The advanced stuff, there's a lot of it out there. But there's hardly anybody covering that middle ground that says, well, how do you go from being a kind of intermediate developer to a really good developer? I don't see too many people covering that ground at all. I think it's a big, huge open goal. And if I were in any way serious about my YouTube channel, then I would probably go after that middle ground, and I would try and transition people from the middle ground to the higher ground. I don't see too many people doing it, you know. So that's pretty much how I see the web development genre of YouTube. I think that there is a massive difference between somebody doing a video where they're trying to give out some kind of authentic information that may or may not be useful, and somebody just looking for the clicks. Somebody, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but a very well-known developer the other day came on my radar, came up on my recommended list, and his video was, I shouldn't say the title, I won't, right, but it was along the lines of just chilling out. And when you clicked on the video, it was a 2-hour stream, and as far as I can tell, I never sat through the 2 hours, but it was a guy sitting on a couch. I think he was watching Netflix, and within 2 minutes of the video starting, he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Just chilling out. How you doing? Just chilling, just chilling." And he looks at the screen and says, "Look, do me a favour, give this video a thumbs up, will you?" And I find myself going, what the hell? You haven't even offered anything of value at all. It's a guy sitting on the couch watching Netflix. But apparently, we've to just turn up, "Yeah, I'll thumbs up that. Oh, thanks for letting me touch the hem of your garment, man. Yay." So I think that it's, for the most part, just a big vacuous cavalcade of click chasers and subscriber chasers. And the reason why they're doing it is because they are terrified of the prospect of, heaven forbid, getting a job or going into the marketplace. I personally know no other life. I have commercial gigs I'll be doing tomorrow morning, and I'm comfortable in the marketplace, but there's a lot of developers who are not for some reason. One point that I will stress though is that I have not ever encountered anyone who I would say has dished out rubbish code. I've never ever seen it anywhere. I've never looked at any tutorial and says that code sucks or anything like that. I am not the code police, and I'm not some genius either, but I've never seen that. And the other thing, just finally before I close, is that I don't want to be the YouTube police. I don't want to do an inexhaustible supply of such and such as bullshit videos, you know. And on that point, if you ever, let me just say while I've got your attention, friends and enemies, if you ever see me posting a such and such bullshit video, I want to tell you how not to appear on one of those videos, right? Here are the ground rules. First of all, it's okay to do things differently from me. I am not better than you or anything. It's okay to critique my code, even my courses. It's okay to say, you know, somebody on Reddit posted a thing, Speed Coding Academy's a scam. And I came on and I literally said, I love it how there are corners of the web like this where people can speak their minds. It's okay to critique, but when you see me doing such and such as bullshit and doing those kinds of videos, I guarantee somewhere along the line, that person who might be the target of that organization have either attacked some other developer, usually quite viciously, or they have attacked the integrity of, let's say, the PHP developers. And I have a good video coming up next week where I'll show you an example of that. So for example, if somebody says all those PHP developers are just crap, they don't know what they're talking about, well, at that point, that person is now a candidate for the chopping block, and they can expect a video from me. The other thing that irritates me is when people appear and they try to set themselves up as the policeman of the industry, you know, and they talk about how we're going to standardize things, and if you don't do it this way, you're not doing it right. That annoys me, but there's hardly anybody doing that. So let me just assure anyone who's nervously watching this and thinking, am I going to be next on the chopping block? You're probably not. You have to try really, really hard. It's like, do you know that if you saw a real samurai warrior walking down the street, you could spit on that guy's face and give him all the insults under the sun, and the samurai warrior would say, "Forgive me." The samurai would say, "I'm terribly apologetic to see you that way." And maybe the samurai would give you a flower. They were actually into that, you know. They were into poetry and flowers, you know. But when the samurai draws his sword, there must be blood, and so it is with me. I have now accepted the fact. Let me tell you something. You've listened this far. I'll tell you something I've never told anyone. I'll mention it next week maybe, but this is the first. I had an idea a couple of years ago to build a voice-activated web development suite. And I got within touching distance of nailing it. I mean, within 1 month. I'm really close. If I want it, it's there. I figured out how to get the Alexa stuff going and everything. It was beautiful. And I found this conference that caters for disabled people who are interested in IT. This is a well-funded conference, very glossy, getting coverage here, there and everywhere. And I contacted this conference and I said to them, look, I've been doing web development since before they had a name for it, and I've been working on something that you might like. I think I've basically nailed how to do the world's first voice-activated web development suite. And if there are people out there who have problems moving their fingers or something, or typing, I was actually thinking about war vets, like people who've been in the army and they've had these horrendous injuries and they've came back basically disabled but with their minds perfectly intact. I thought, I think I've got something for them. I can have those people participate in the marketplace because I've got this voice activated thing and I'm within touching distance, and you know, you've got a conference just a few months away. Any chance you could give me a spot, you know? And I even offered, I think I offered them $1,000, but I thought they would have grabbed the idea. Holy cow, voice activated, what you're going to have them coming on? I was going to go on stage and have a guy come on. I had it all planned. There was going to be a quadriplegic comes on in one of those chairs, and I was going to set a computer up and I was going to have the guy build an online shop like that with his voice. And I was sure they would love it. That conference turned me down. And they didn't even give me an excuse. They just said, well, we've got stalls outside, and if you want, you can buy a stall. But you're not getting anywhere near the actual conference. We're taken up. Now, that conference, no doubt, will have been filled with all sorts of interesting leftist bullshit. But none of them are talking about the kind of things that we are talking about here. So I'm really cynical about not only the web development genre on YouTube, but also the web development genre or the web development community in a kind of larger scale. Because for me, there is no community. And so that's web development. There was a time when I cared enough to pretend that we were all batting on the same side. But we're not. We're not. There is no community. There is no camaraderie. There is no brotherhood of web developers or whatever. That's web development. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will allow you to get back to whatever you were doing. I'll catch you later.